AI is reshaping how we work.
AI boom sparks race for talent. AI tools redefine software development.
AI becomes the core of corporate strategy.
AI spending surges as firms seek efficiency.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because if you look at the Gartner hype curve, actually Gen AI is kind of going down into the trough of disillusionment. But yet there are companies that are investing millions and billions of dollars in this, but not seeing the kind of results that they want to see. So is the industry ready? I would say that the industry is ready, but are they ready to adopt AI? Not yet, because they're still stuck in their ways of looking at AI as another technology or another tool. So there's a lot of experimentation, a lot of pilots. What they're not getting after is in terms of actually thinking, how do I bring AI into my organization and engineer around it or re-engineer around it?
I think we need to look at industry as companies which are more tech forward, which is the software technology companies. And then there is the enterprises. So I guess both of them have a different perspective on how and at what pace do they want to take this forward. So the companies which are tech first, whom you make software for a living, these are the companies who are actively on top of it. The investors are behind them, making them embed AI into everything. The enterprises, which is the larger industry, I would say, are the ones where this is still a wait and watch.
The biggest divide actually is not one that is technical. The biggest divide over here is one that is cultural, because AI is not a tool or a technology. AI is something that fundamentally shifts how we need to think, how we need to work, how we need to handshake between each other. It literally is like a human-like participant in everything that we do every day. So that shift is cultural, not technical. So the divide comes from organizations who are able to look at what kind of adoption is required, not just about what kind of training is required and what kind of tools are required.
And speaking of the divide, I guess the divide lies also in the expectation. The hype around usage of AI is being marketed as a solution that just delivers. It solves everything. But what is not being talked about much is the type of change that has to happen on the ground. Not only just the change that is happening in the way we are producing software, but also the way in which engineers, teams have to think, managers have to think, how businesses have to start thinking about how they want to inject this usage of AI systematically. That's a gigantic effort. Whether you just see it as a one-stop solution, where you're thinking it that I go out there and buy a tool and it's going to change everything, versus how do I systematically set up the programs that are going to make this happen within the organization?
It's kind of interesting because most of the engineering leaders that I've spoken to, including CTOs at our clients, as well as even some of our own folks within our organization, the conversation seems to come down to, can we do faster? Can we get more efficient? Now, what they're not looking at is the fact that AI is something that is such a fundamental change and inflection, such a big inflection point in the history of this industry. And I've been in this industry since my middle school days for the last 30 plus years. And this is the first time where there is an advancement in the space that allows us individually to think better of what we want to do and how we want to do it. Well, I think the misalignment is that we're still thinking of AI in the individual points and silos that we work in today. And if you're not looking at AI as something that actually can fundamentally reshape what you do and how you do it, not just with yourself, but with your team members, then you're stuck with trying to just redo things a little differently of what you're doing yesterday. Each one of us have this genius 5-year-old that's always with us. You need to be able to have a suitable conversation and be able to allow that 5-year-old to be part of your conversation of what you want to do. And so that helps you reason better, that lets you think better, get more creative, not just about handing over a task for it to do it faster. Yes, it can do it faster, no doubt, but that's not unlocking the potential of AI.
The misalignment is clearly in the expectations. The expectations from business, the expectations from the engineers on ground, and this cultural shift that Bhaskara just mentioned that has to happen of embracing AI into the day-to-day working and everything that we do, that shift is a larger adoption cycle. And this adoption cycle is the transformation that has to take place. So the misalignment clearly happens or stems from the expectation mismatch because everyone has to use the powers of the 5-year-old, but at the same time, you can't just take the output that is being produced by this 5-year-old and run with it. There is a lot more that has to happen in order to make it work, make it production class or enterprise grade, as we call it.
Don't look at AI as a tool. Don't look at AI as a technology. But look at AI as something that you want to imbibe and embed into everything that you do individually and collectively. And so this is where we worked on, we were ground up on this. And what I mean by ground up is because AI is so inextricably linked to how we do stuff on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute kind of basis. So the lens that we brought into this is basically a strategy-led framework of enabling teams to basically adopt AI-native practices, but at the same time to be able to deliver outcomes. And because this is led from the front, essentially as engineers, you need to lead from within and lead from the front, not top down. And that's why we call our program as Vanguard. And this Vanguard essentially is this kind of a framework for adoption with outcomes that we're looking to chase. So it largely is mentor-led, it's peer-supported, loops of adoption that run through a loop of seeding, pairing, and running solo. So this continuous set of adoption loops basically get spread out across an organization. And we've had a number of engineering teams and organizations adopt this over the last year. And this has grown from a couple of people that we started with as a background experiment to something that is actually now what we take to ourselves, but we also take it to our clients.
And the way this framework has evolved is we have also developed a lot of these multi-X engineers, cross-functional squads. And they are enabled by our patent pending approach, what we call as the cognitive blueprints, which is largely codifying what we call as the best practices, the mental models of these engineers. And this codification is being democratized across the teams so that it becomes scalable. The adoption is largely, it's going to start with one team. It's going to expand throughout the enterprise, and that's what we want to achieve with this framework. We are putting these teams through a journey which is going from this automation to augmentation, and then treating AI as the co-creator.
People are at the center of this. This does not work if people are not adopting to it. So the real transformation is about people and their ability to basically apply the cognitive intelligence, right? So, or maybe another way to put that is saying, how do we look at cognitive upskilling? Because what you really got to, I would say, impart, and I'm using the word impart, not teach, not learn, impart and imbibe is the part of how does one human partner with intelligence? Whether it's human or whether it's artificial. When we are in conversations with our mentors, we have a way to learn and imbibe what the mentor is telling us, not learn it from a book. And the same thing comes out of the artificial intelligence too. So it's how do you then partner and leverage that intelligence? That's the transformation that is at the heart of this. And so people is absolutely at the center of this. It's not going to work without people. AI is not going to replace people. What it is going to do is going to transform people in the way they do their work. That's what is changing.
It's not just about the technology. It's when people start using the technology becomes great. And the fun thing about us, the reason why we all became engineers is because we love building the software. And to make that process more fulfilling, more enriching, the real fun comes in when the engineers, the designers, the product teams, they come together, brainstorm, and deliver something which is impactful. So with this framework that we are establishing, people are at the center of everything we do. The toolkits that are being set up are set up in a way that maximizes what they love doing, which is in their independent roles, producing what they like to do. So these toolkits, these processes all come together, making each role an orchestrator, a system designer, which makes the whole process more fulfilling.
I think we're all heading towards that world of inevitability. So for us, we are very firm in our minds that everybody becomes a Vanguard at the end. It becomes democratized. And Vanguard is the route that we are very proudly taking to ourselves and to our clients as a way for everybody to get there. Because everybody needs to go AI native, because that's the only way that this works. And so what that actually means is that what the future of organizations and teams are those that engineer cognition, not engineer code. And that's the key element of this. And engineering cognition, if you were to make that mind shift, you're then not looking at leveraging a tool or using AI as a tool or a technology, but you're imbibing AI as an inherent part of what you do and how you do.
And a key element of this entire approach per se is developing trust, believing that AI as a co-creator is maximizing what I am doing in my job. So the future it's inevitable that we all have to become vanguards. We all have to become AI natives. And at the same time, we have to become comfortable making AI a part of everything that we do.